Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to episode 94 of the Huddersfield Town Social. After a pasting of Newcastle's under-21s, the Terriers took on the Posh this weekend, looking to bounce back from their dismal 3-1 defeat in the league at Barnsley. On paper, the game was all but won, with experts like Ian Kilroy predicting a comfortable 4-0 win. But for us pessimists, the ghost of Charity FC is always threatening to raise its ugly head. The first half was about as dull as a Lib Dem conference, and with Posh scoring yet another heavily deflected goal early in the second half, we all started to fear the worst. But the introduction of Will Alves and Castledine ultimately injected the spark we needed, and Town eventually ran out 3-2 winners. Town up to third, and even miserable gits like me are starting to believe. Even better that we've got another 3 easy points coming up on Saturday. I'll be your host, Nick Barlow, and joining me tonight will be Gaz Kay, Tristan Batley-Kyle and Stephen Shepherd. Guys, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Steve Brailsford, good morning, all from New Zealand. Good morning to you, mate. It's evening here. It's cold. It's miserable as fuck, but at least one of us is somewhere decent tonight. So that's nice. Jed Robinson, morning, boys. Morning to you, mate. Good to see you again. Please get your comments in, guys, and your questions. We'll do our best to address them all this evening, but we want you guys to get involved as well, because that's what it's all about, basically, this episode. So, guys, I'm going to start with you, mate. I've got to come clean. I was away at Works Conference all weekend, so I didn't make it to the game. Obviously, I've seen highlights. By all accounts, that first half, I didn't miss much, mate, did I? But we'll go through the first half first, mate. You talk us through it. What were you thinking?
Yeah, well, a bit like you said, I think although we seem to have a new team, a bit of a new mentality and a new manager, after the first 45 minutes were same old, bottom of the league, 1 point or something have we got? Scored 2 goals all season, haven't won in 9, rocking to Town. And we sort of kicked off with a bit of a whimper, really. The standard in the first 5 minutes were awful. It was almost like Posh couldn't believe their eyes as to what they were seeing in front of them. And I thought they started to run into the game. And they never really threatened, in fairness. I don't think they ever really caused any trouble. But they got a bit of a grip of the game. And our midfield looked completely disjointed. You know, there was one where I think Wiles got the ball and he ran and he almost overtook Ruskin, who was 15 yards in front of him when he set off. Hans looked absolutely bollocks from minute 1. Ledson, I don't really know what he added to the game. And then Kane just seemed wanting to go sideways and backwards. So our midfield never got a grip. And I did put a tweet at half time saying, is this rotation? And a few people said, well, not really, because he hasn't rotated the midfield too much, has he? Seems to rotate the centre halves and the full backs and the strikers, but leaves that middle 5 as they were. But I thought Posh just played our own game. They put an extra man in the middle and they popped it about. They played some really nice stuff. I mean, fortunately, they were like a lot of teams in this league when they come to our place. They had a bit of dominance, but created fuck all with it, fortunately. But yeah, it was. Yeah, that's 4 or 5 games now, recently, league games, really, if you ignore the Newcastle game, where I think first half we've just looked bereft of any quality and energy. But we got to 0-0 at half time, and I guess the game managed to turn eventually. But yeah, it were pretty abysmal for start, Nick.
You wouldn't think we were third, would you, with all this positivity flowing through the episode already? It's fantastic. But you're right, mate. Is it becoming a bit of a worry, this, Tristan? Like Gaz says, we're starting games slowly, aren't we? Now, Peterborough, I think, probably a bit of a false position they've brought a lot of new players in. I don't think this was an easy game as some people thought it would be. You've got loads of new players. They've got naught to lose. On paper, it's an easy win, but that just didn't football, is it? So there were part of me thought they've got to be a bit careful here that they don't get outdone. But are you worried, mate? Do you think was just starting too lethargic and a decent side, like, you know, I'd dare to say what's coming up on Saturday, if we start like that, we're going to be in bother, aren't we? Or do you think it's a case of, look, we're slowly building into games, slowly wearing them down, and then we bring the kids on second half when we've drawn some of the energy out of the opposition, and then we go and score 3 goals? Is that the plan? Just to drain them?
Yeah, I don't know. Because probably in our hardest game this season against, and I appreciate not a full Sunderland side, but against Sunderland, we were miles the better team for the first 45 minutes. So I'm not certain that it's about Town, to be honest. I think it's more about the other teams. You know, if you look at Peterborough all season, they've set up pretty much 4-1-4-1, and they've come to us and they've played kind of a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, however you want to look at it. Probably a 5-3-2. You know, and they've just come and they've filled the areas where we play, haven't they? You know, we try and Harness kind of goes centrally with Wiles a bit. You've got Sorensen coming down the wing. You've got Ruskin trying to stay high. You know, and all of a sudden, 5 at the back, 3 in midfield. They've flooded all those areas. You know, and actually, I think I can't remember who said it when I think it was said on the group chat. You know, we have a situation where you know, Ruskin looks lost because he can't go high. He struggles with that kind of in between kind of area, if you might. You know, the ball over the top from Ruin, which has worked really quite well in kind of recent weeks, and when we've scored goals down that flank, it's been a ball over the top that Ruskin's been able to run onto. And I think, to be honest with you, they just came and stifled us, you know, and they stifled a lot of what was good about us. And to some extent, and I know we've discussed it, and I am going to contradict myself in a minute as well, but we are predictable, aren't we? In many respects, we're predictable in how we set up, and we're predictable in that. You know, Kane and Ledson are key to a lot of things. Wiles is key to a lot of things. You know, so as a setup, I think teams, if they come and do something different, it's us getting used to them. And we seem to, you know, and again, I'll allude to something Killer said, I think earlier in the year or back in the last season. It's about how managers change stuff, and in fairness to him, he changed it, you know, and he put Castledine on and he put Alves on, and they brought much more energy and, you know, a directness, didn't they, to how we played. You know, all of a sudden, it wasn't quite as Gaz says, it wasn't sideways passes from Kane and stuff like that. It was forward passes. You know, the goals that we scored. We've given him some criticism on here, but Sorensen is involved in all 3 of them. You know, the first one he goes forward, the second one he creates space for Harness and drops it off, and the third one is a very simple ball, but it plays that simple ball into the middle of the park to May, who plays a lovely pass into Taylor, and it's just that directness, you know, and I guess that's where I'm contradicting myself in that we can bring players on that are capable of playing the same style of play that we play, but slightly differently, if you know what I mean. You know, it's not a complete different style like when we saw Birmingham last season throw Dykes on to go completely differently. It's not that we're doing that. It's that we're kind of tweaking what we do already. So I think some of it is maybe about the teams that we're playing against, and I think we've probably signings we've made, start that we've had, we've got a bit of a target on our back, haven't we? you know, and I think teams probably realise, you know, Doncaster found us out really, didn't they? In earlier on in the season, they targeted Kane and Ledson, and that seems to be a little bit more of a recurring theme. If people can stifle them too, it stifles us quite a bit. So I think I probably expect it, you know, quite consistently going forward, and it's just then whether we can consistently find that little tweak to do something different.
Jed Robinson says, are we a group or a team? What's the difference? I think this season it's definitely about the group, isn't it? And how we can utilise them. Like you're saying, Tris, it's different this season, isn't it? Last season, we're bringing substitutes on and we look a lot weaker, don't we? Whereas this time, we're bringing people on that can visibly make a massive impact on the game. And that's massive. When you've got 50 odd games to play over a season, yes, some of these little teams have started pretty well. But when they start getting injuries to key players, and it will happen at some point in the season, that's when them teams will start to struggle a bit and drop off, whereas your bigger squads start to come to the fore a little bit more. Steve, Mark Harrison said we need to put our impact players on from the start. I think there's a case for some of these maybe to come out, mate. I mean, what's your thoughts on Ruskin down that left-hand side? Should we persevere or should he be left back, mate? Because that chance for Taylor at first half, where it comes to Ruskin, and I think a confidence player left forward shoots there, but he doesn't, does he? He squares it to Taylor now. Is it just a case of Guy, you know, he's barely played any games really on the left wing? Are we trying to make him something he's not? Should we maybe try him at left back, you know, swap him in and out for Rowan and try someone else?
I sort of agree and I don't agree. I'm going to do a Tristan contradict myself here because I really do like Ruskin. He's the only pace we've got, isn't it? And that's saying a lot because we are very, very narrow in that middle. Like Tris said, they just came with a game plan, Peterborough, and I think they must have watched the Barnsley tape because Barnsley did the same. They just swamped Kane and Ledson, and they had no answer to it. So Peterborough, they played us off the park really that first 45 minutes. There were no outlet even with Ruskin, but I do like him and I think he's raw and he is the only one that we've got the pace that wants to actually play out wide because I think, like we said last week on podcast, we're just a team of number 10s at the moment. We're so narrow with Harness, Wiles, they're all in that middle. So he is the only outlet that we've got. I would like to see him persist, but I do agree that he were absolutely abysmal on Saturday. He didn't even look interested, like Gaz said. For Wiles, who's not the quickest, to catch him and go past him, and then he did like a Wiles special where he sort of ran into the defenders to like make sure he couldn't receive the ball. He was so bad. He should have been taken off at half time. I don't know whether he's injured or there's something going on. But, I mean, he was supposed to be all happy, wasn't he, back at Huddersfield? He'd signed that deal and his family were here and all that. And so, yeah, I don't really know on that one. I think we've got to keep him in team because he's the only outlet we've got that's pace. I mean, like we've just said, the players that we're bringing in, last season it was square pegs, round holes, wasn't it? This season, they're all the same players, but the new lads that are coming in, Castledine and Alves, they changed the game in that second half. Instead of the ball going into them and them looking back, they were turning on it, they were receiving it, they were going forward with it. So to me, they've got to start and they've got to try and we've got to try and go forward with them. I think maybe it's time to just rest Wiles, which Killer won't like. I prefer to say drop him, but. Yeah, I think we've got to give these young lads a go because it was so predictable. And Peterborough, typical Ferguson, he must have had a word with his dad at half time or whatever and had a word with ref because ref was shocking as well. But yeah, we've just going to have to give these lads a go, I think, because if we do that against Bradford on Saturday, I think Bradford will turn us over.
I think Ruskin's lucky, really. It's probably the only position with Miller out injured where there isn't genuine 2 or 3 people that can play. I mean, they say This Al is it, I was saying Alves or Alves. What we're saying, Alves.
I think the club in the interview said Alves, which you would
Alves.
like to think they'd have checked that with him before saying it. So
He calls it
They-
Alves, and he's never wrong, is he? So it must be Alves.
They did one of these things, Gaz, on Instagram where they ask him how to pronounce the name. And he pronounced it Alves.
Oh, there you go. So Alves, bless him. People say, "Oh, he can play on the left hand side of the front three," but from what I'm reading, they fancy him as another number 10. So not really much pressure on Ruskin, and I think that's probably why he's dodged it. In fairness, I thought he looked knackered. Him and Harness looked knackered, and maybe if they played a bit too much, they maybe should have rested them. But yeah, I think that I was pleased we managed to turn it around because at half time I'm thinking, well, if this goes wrong, especially when they scored after a minute. Suddenly we played 7 and we've won 4, lost 3. That doesn't actually look that great, does it? 5 and 2 looks a lot better than 4 and 3. And I think my worry for Saturday is that Bradford won't be playing through the thirds. They're going to be knocking it long, and then they're going to be playing for seconds. So we've got to then make sure when we win the ball back, we're equipped to get forward. And I thought that was, and we used to. I was frustrated in the first half how many times Wiles and Harness and Kane somehow found themselves stood behind the fucking Peterborough player. If they stepped 2 yards either way, they'd have been in 5 yards of space, but they seemed to persist with. And maybe it was Peterborough's positioning, maybe their shape was really good, and that's what made it look like that. But we just never seemed to be in a position to receive the ball from Ledson or from Kane if Kane had been the one that had dropped. So, yeah, I worry about Ruskin. I'm not sure whether his fitness is up to a full season. To play 40 games, I'm not sure it is. So he's going to have to try and find a solution. I'm glad he sticks with Rowan at left back. I think Rowan's a better left back than Ruskin, by the way. In this league, anyway, I think you need. He's quite a tall lad, so he adds to that height when we're defending set pieces as well. Running he's robust. So yeah, I think that left hand side of the front three remains or front four rather still remains a problem for me. But we've not. I don't know what else Grant does because he hasn't really got much choice, has he?
I mean, Alves guys can play on that left-hand side, and we haven't seen Zepkino yet. Now he's someone that either plays a striker or left wing. So there are options. I mean, if we brought him in, then he must think he's good enough to play a part. So if Ruskin is struggling, he's been here for a little bit now. We've not seen him at all. Get him on bench, give him a go, see how he does. I think into winger is I just think he's playing it wrong position, and I do feel a bit sorry for him because I think he's been out to dry in a sense that that's never gonna be his own. That's not his specialty. He was brought in as a wing back / left back, and we're expecting to turn him into a forward. Well, he isn't. So. Not to say that he ain't a decent player, I think he is, but I just think it's a bit unfair, really, that we persist in playing him in that position when it's not his best position. But Tristan getting some love from Feathers here. Spot on, Tristan, saying the team finished Saturday has to start against Bradford. I've obviously gotten to Bradford later on, but I don't think there's much more to say on that first half. It looked a bit similar to Barnsley first half to me, shite. But I was obviously checking in my little works conference thing on my phone all the time, waiting for it to go. And I saw early second half when that goal went, and I thought, oh fuck, here we go, because it's Town, innit? When it's these games when on paper they're absolutely easy, nailed on 3 points. How many times have Town messed up? And I think here we go again. Peterborough score, they'll shove everyone behind ball, and they'll see out a 1-0 because that's what always happens. And I think last season. That probably would, if we had a similar season to last season, that would have happened. But it's a free kick. It's another huge deflection. That's the third one in a row. Third one in 3 games. We've had a massive deflection taking back at net. And I don't know, everyone just looked like sucker punch. Everyone just like, in ground, everyone looked dead miserable. It went in, it's just silence, like, oh no. What were you thinking, Gaz? Steve, sat there, are you thinking, did you have confidence still, or do you think, oh God, this is going to be one of them?
Well, I was hoping he was going to make some changes at half time I didn't expect that change to be fucking Wallace for Watmore. That wasn't the change I was looking for, if I'm honest. Was he injured or has he been scapegoat yet again? Because
I think it felt something pulled slightly, so he didn't want to risk it. I don't think it's a bad injury, but they just didn't want to risk him, which is fair enough.
The free kick for the goal, Nick, the ball came in. Wallace missed the header. How he missed it, I fucking don't know. And then the bloke's going absolutely nowhere. He's being channeled out to the wing, and Kane decides to try and
Just
chop
mullered
him,
him, did he?
Absolutely. I mean, a ridiculous challenge. And then you leave yourself, you can't do anything about a deflection, can you? You know, the bloke hit it hard enough. I think whoever was closing the ball down, I think it deflected off them up and into the other corner. So you can't do anything about it. But you're right. I mean, the players, they all stood and looked at each other. And I think at that point, you could see that Grant was getting a little bit antsy after that for the next 5 or 10 minutes, which I think is why I made the subs early doors. And obviously the subs then after 55 minutes, 56 minutes, whatever it was, they did turn the game. But I mean, the bloke was going absolutely nowhere. I mean, how many times I've said this before? You know, I can't remember who it was, but I read an autobiography, and it was a manager, and I can't remember who it was. Anyway, and he said, you know, if you make one mistake in football, don't make the second straight away, and that's what we did. Was made one error, Kane made another, and next thing you know, it's a goal again. So it was a bloody ridiculous goal to give away. But you know, I guess like you said earlier, Nick, the one thing we do in our locker is we've got a bench full of players who probably start in every other League One team these days. So you know, perhaps Grant didn't panic, although he got a little bit antsy. But yeah, he was. I mean, it was definitely silent in the ground when the goal went in.
I thought there was a bit of a question mark whether he was offside. You know, the lad whose backside it hit, because they were almost in a perfect line, and he looks to stand almost. He takes a step towards the goal almost. So I wondered whether it were offside, but I think those kind of decisions you're not going to get without kind of VAR or something like that.
No chance in this league.
Not in League One, mate. Yeah,
not with these League One. He's joking at you.
Yeah, and referee were appalling that game. To be fair,
Yeah.
he were really bad. That's one of the worst I've seen down there. And I don't like to criticise him too much, but he were all over the job. He were missing them little bites at Kane. I think that maybe that's why Kane actually just lost his head and mullered him, chopped him down. But there were a few times that there were shirt pulls on him and Ledson and a few kicks and stuff, and ref just won't give in. He give a fair few to them, but he didn't give a lot to us, which sounds a bit typical Town fan, doesn't it, kicking off about refs. But normally I don't really kick off with them, but I thought he were a poor ref.
Every fan's same, mate, out there. We're always like that. I mean, were we as bad as that one at Barnsley? Because that was the pits. That's probably the worst I've seen so far.
Yeah, wasn't far off.
But Tris, I like Town's equaliser a lot, and I just think, you know, Sorensen playing like the player we thought we signed last season, charges down wing, pass mended brilliantly to get past him, and then Alves anticipates it. It's so nice to actually have players at right position when ball goes in, because at one time that would have flashed in, there'd been nobody there to get on end of it. But Alves anticipates it, right place, right time. Great for him, getting his first goal. And obviously that gives everyone a massive lift, doesn't it, then?
Yeah, I think to be honest, Nick, we've had that frustration a little bit this season as well. You know, I think Ruskin, we've said, isn't always that kind of instinctive kind of attacking player. You know, Harness kind of goes centrally, so someone attacking that back post is lacking a little bit, and it was refreshing, you know, and it's refreshing that it's a bit of a, you know, quite as you've alluded to, it was actually real quality build up play, and what something that we've not seen at all, you know, not even in patches. Like, we've not seen it once, I don't think, from Sorensen to this point, and was actually what Lincoln fans said he was about, I think, and you know, it was actually really good to see, and I think that clearly is something that Grant has got out of him, you know, and it is good to see, because I think in fairness to him, he has shown this season a lot more already than he showed all throughout last season. But yeah, it's nice to get a bit of a scrappy goal like that, and quite as you alluded to, just someone gambling, really. You know, even Taylor don't really do that kind of thing. You know, he kind of chases lost causes and stuff like that, but you don't really see him throwing himself in the box like that. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
And then Steve, obviously, Town are on ascendancy, aren't they? And it's brilliant. It's great bit of football, I think, for Kane's goal. Sorensen, nice little back heel into Arnis puts it across. Castledine, I think, has a shot and it's blocked, and it comes out to Kane, and he just smashes it, doesn't he? And yeah, it's fortunate. It takes deflection out. It fits off Lee's. But I mean, it's a great strike, isn't it? And he does give you that, Kane. I mean, he does have in his locker the odd ridiculous foul or ridiculous decision. But one thing he can do is strike a ball. Brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was very, very poor that first half. I don't know whether it was frustration or whatever. Even I was calling for him to be hooked off at half time. But like you said, when you've got players like that, Arnis had done nothing in that first half, but he's just got that touch and awareness just to feed balls in. We have got classier players this year, that are bailing us out, aren't they, really? Which is the only good thing compared to last season. But jumping back on what Tris said, Sorensen again, I think that's the best game I've seen him play in a Town shirt. I think he was my man at match for Saturday. I think he did his defensive duties right. He bombed on when he had to do. His deliveries were, like you say, what the Lincoln fans were banging on about. I think that's best we've seen of him. So it was really good to see that if the left-hand side isn't producing, at least the right-hand side is. So good things from that side. But it's just getting more out of him, isn't it? I'd like to see a bit more from Harness, because he is that championship quality player, so I just want to see a bit more of it. But I suppose when you've got a bench like that and you can bring on two ex-Premier League kids that have got a touch of class and a good touch and awareness and will have the confidence to take a touch and turn on it and go forward, then we're not doing so bad at the moment, are we? We're getting out of jail free at the moment.
I do think there seems to be quite a reflection on Town, that Town aren't playing well. Like, teams are allowed to come and play well against us, you know, and are allowed to come and try and stifle us. And you know, I do think we will have to get used to this, because teams will come and do this, and will, you know, they did it last season and we weren't that good. They did it last season, and you know, we couldn't break them down. We absolutely couldn't break them down. We huffed and puffed, and we came and we sat on here and you know, got frustrated and criticised them. But actually, I think there has to be some kind of positivity that we are managing to break teams down. Yeah, okay, we had a bad whatever it was against Blackpool, and we had a bit of a similar silly kind of half or so against Barnsley, and that's what we've got to cut out. But teams are going to come and do this, and I think it's just it's on the lads to kind of stay calm and try and, you know, get beyond that, isn't it?
It is, Chris, but we could have been 3 or 4 down against Donny. If Peter had been 1 or 2-0 at half time, I don't think you could have complained. So I know what you're saying, but as I said right at the beginning, you know, this is a better squad of players that are in a better vein of form at home, with a crowd who've been right behind them this season. You know, I don't really know where that first 35 minutes came from. I just looking, I can't. And in fairness to Lee Grant, I thought he was really honest in his interview afterwards to say that wasn't good enough. You know, and so yeah, and you're right. There's 2 teams in every game, right? So you've got to pay due respect to Peterborough. But I just thought we let them. I think they came to play a deep block and couldn't believe the luck. When suddenly they found the space. So what we can't do is keep doing that, because we will get teams who will put 1 or 2 goals in, and then it's an uphill battle, isn't it? We've got to put these teams to the sun. I don't want to go all big time Charlie, but we should be with that squad and them players. With respect to Peterborough, we should be 3 and 4 in them at home, because I guarantee you Cardiff will, and I guarantee you Birmingham would have last year, and I guarantee you Wrexham would have last year. That's our benchmark now. That's where we've got to be aiming, in my opinion.
Yeah, but contrast that, Gaz. We could have been in that position against Blackpool, and we weren't. And then we went and had a mad 15 minutes, and we're 3-1 down.
Yeah.
So there is that. But also, I think it's easy. It's easy to come to a club like Town and try and stifle them in it. It's a lot easier to try and stifle a team than it is to go and try and break a team down. And so I think what we haven't to do on that is allow them to build into a game, and all well and good stifling us, but don't allow them to get on top.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where we let ourselves down in it. We let them get on top, and quite as you say, they probably came to play a low block and built into the game and thought, bloody hell,
Yeah.
So,
But they didn't play
think
bad football though. They knocked it about. They played a
They always
decent
have done,
half.
haven't they?
It wasn't bad
always have
football.
done.
It wasn't lucky.
They've always been a team that play good football, haven't they? They've always been that lower league team that you can guarantee will have some kind of raw talent in there. They just don't seem to have the kind of. They don't seem to put it all together, do they? I guess.
Well, we were talking to some Peterborough fans on the way down, and they were saying that they played decent football all season. They just can't score goals. They just haven't got a striker anymore. Obviously, they used to have a decent striker every season, but this time they ain't got one. So they said that they were in games, even though they've been bottom at league and lost a lot of games, but they just haven't got over the line because they ain't got a striker. And to be fair to them, that first half, like you said, Gaz, if they'd have had a striker, they'd have probably gone in at 2-0 up, wouldn't they, at first half? Because we were that bad.
Yeah. Like you just said, Tristan, the encouraging thing is we're still winning these games, right? So, Doncaster, who was second in the league, they could have been 4 up, but they weren't. And then when we got our chance, we took it. So, that I'd rather be lucky than good at this stage of the season, because as Jed says, we've got a lot of new bodies and we're trying to play them in, which is another reason why I was whinging about the rotation. You've got 40 new signings. He's got to start picking his right team and rotating 1 or 2 a game, not 3 and 4 and 5 as he is doing for some games. And that's my worry for Bradford is I think there'll probably 4 more changes at Bradford, won't they, again? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's helping. These are League One footballers. So they need to be given chance to, in my opinion, play games, make partnerships, and get used to what the club want from them.
In fairness as well, Gaz, Cardiff did go 1-0 down to them and only beat them 2-1. So they clearly, maybe as Shep says, they might just be a team that's in a position that's doesn't actually show what they're about.
I think we've played him at a dangerous time as well, I have to say, because it's I wouldn't say it's do or die for Ferguson, but they've started so poorly. Now they've gone a bit mental in last day at window and brought, I think, 4 new players in or whatever. So as a last throw at dice, we've kind of said, well, we'll get as many players in as possible. So they're unpredictable, and like you said, Tristan, the change formation, new players, not easy to prepare for. And when you're a team that has nothing to lose, because no one expected Peterborough to get out at Town, so they've got no to lose. It can play with freedom to an extent. I know they're down the bottom, but they'll see us at 3-8. So although on paper it looked like an easy, straightforward game, I didn't think it would be because of the circumstances surrounding it and the fact we've got these new players. You've got Tom Lees at the back. He's always going to make them a little bit more solid and organised. I just thought it could be one of them games where we struggle a little bit. But on the other hand, I suppose Joe Taylor misses that chance, doesn't he? Where it's incredible, really, because he does so much good work in the build-up, runs onto it, gets it off defender, then manages to charge it down from keeper, doesn't fancy the angle, So then comes back in, and I appreciate he's stretching a little bit. Players are coming back. He's not facing it. He's kind of half turned away from it, but comes off the post, and then Castledine following up wide. But that goes in. It's 3-1, and we probably go on to win it 4-1 in the end. But I mean, it's just poor Joe. I felt sorry for him because right up to that finish, it was classic Joe Taylor, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought he had a good game, actually. I thought, although he was a little bit quiet in the first half, he was one of the few that seemed to be trying to put the yards in. And I thought, second half, I thought he did really well because is it the O'Connor, the 50? Is that Paudie O'Connor, the lad that plays for him? I thought he was great. It was it Tom O'Connor? Tom O'Connor, that's it. Who was 15? I thought he had a great game. And you've got Tom Lees, who we all know what Tom Lees is about. And I thought they coped with Joe quite well despite all his work. And then yeah, I mean, brilliant work to close the keeper down. He wasn't the first either in the game. He did it to the keeper after a few minutes in the first half as well. He managed to catch him out, didn't he? And he was unlucky not to score. And then I thought the goal, his goal with what 80 odd minutes, whatever, was really a great example of how you got to play when you've got May and Taylor in your team. I mean, that ball from Alfie May was absolutely top draw.
Perfect.
May was brilliant. He turned inside and he just rolled it between the centre half and Taylor. And Taylor was off. I mean, that was a great thing. They've clearly been practicing it because Taylor was off before May released the ball. The first touch was great. Second touch was great. And then he rolled it round with the goalie. And absolutely, the third goal was a top goal. And I guess that begs the question as whether, I mean, there's a few people ask whether you can play Taylor and May together. And I think you can, because I think May's a really intelligent footballer. I mean, you can play those kind of positions and those kinds of balls as well as getting in behind. So, I thought Taylor would go. Was he man of the match, I think, in the town, Paul Taylor as well, I think, was it?
It was up
there. I'm not sure I'd have gone that far, but I thought he had a really solid game.
Oh, it was brilliant. That
deserved his spot, did he? After Newcastle, he deserved his place to have a go. And I agree, guys. I thought he put himself about. Whether or not I pay £3 million for him is a different talking point, but he did deserve his spot and put himself about. I'd like to see him start again. Getting back to that fitness and on point and looking for runs and stuff. The only worry with him is he's a bit hot-headed, isn't he? I could see him getting really frustrated in that first half, and I thought, don't go and boot somebody, Joe. Don't do something daft. That's my only worry with him.
Do you think he looks a bit trimmer as well? He certainly looks a lot fitter than last season.
Definitely.
I don't think he scores that goal last season, does he?
No,
I loved it. I loved everything about it. I love the pass. I love the run through. We don't see that enough at Town. It reminded me a bit Rhodes-esque, really. Running onto it, anticipating it, and a nice, cool finish, wasn't it? Yeah. It was brilliant. And then,
it bumps the defender as well.
Yeah, strength, innit?
And I thought for a little lad that he is, it's decent. That's someone on form, innit?
Yeah, somebody that's hungry. I think last season there he goes down. I think he falls over there and waits for the defender to fall on top of him. But it was nice to see that. Yeah, I think how we put his body across him. I think last season he goes down there, so it was really nice for him to actually stay on his feet and then roll it through keeper's legs or whatever. I thought that was. There's a player there, but £3 million. Bit steep in it for what we're getting at the moment.
We said that, but I think Towner with top scorers in the league and joint top home scorers with 9 goals. So, that's one thing we weren't getting under Duff, was it? We can complain about the fact we're getting outplayed for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. At least we're banging some goals in, aren't we? How long is it since we've seen 2 and 3 and 4 goals in games? So I think Steve says Taylor and May are both on 4 goals now. Not a bad start, is it? We're only just into September.
Yeah, 4 goals in his last 3 games for Joe, isn't it? So he's banging form. I can't complain with that. Talking about aggression, Steve, Jed's made the point that tapping up the yellow cards, 24 so far. Is that right? Because if it is, that's a huge amount.
What for us?
Well, that's what it says, but I don't know. But I like the way that we are more physical. We're certainly more physical than last season, but that's not saying a lot, to be fair, is it? Because we were absolutely abysmal last season. But I like that we're getting stuck in. But yeah, it could be a bit of an issue, couldn't it? Racking up the cards. We just got to watch that, haven't we? We don't start doing stupid things. As big a squad
Northern
as we are.
football, that.
I mean, I do think there might be one or two more on Saturday, but
Yeah.
I just hope we don't get any reds, but for us anyway. But yeah, look, it looked like a striker with confidence, which brilliant. That's exactly what you want to see. But look, it's Town, innit? So we have to mess up and concede a late goal just to piss on everyone's bonfire. And right at the end of the game, cross comes in. Their player misses an header, but none of us anticipate it. None of the players really move. Nichols don't come out to punch or claim it, and it's kind of just tapped in at back post. It's such a because we have been really good defensively, but we just completely switch off there. And yeah, it's last minute at game, but you can't be doing stuff like just see it out 3-1. Don't look too bad, and it just it's just a little bit of a last dint, wasn't it? Just a little black mark at the end. Because I thought that was sloppy from us.
Yeah, I think sloppy is the right word. I was raging. I thought it's a disgusting goal. If that was Sunday League, you'd be getting a bollocking, let alone professional football. It was poor. Rome was poor to let the cross come in. We had two chances to clear it beforehand. Rome let the ball come in, and then somehow all of the Town boys in the box somehow all missed the header, as you say, their man, didn't it? So hit the guy at the back post and went in. It was a piss poor goal, and if it had cost us a point, which there was a long spell of the game where it didn't look like we were going to add a third, did it? If it had cost us a point, it cost us 2 points, excuse me, we would have been raging, wouldn't we? We were really poor.
They had a corner after that as well, didn't they? Because we were all looking at each other in cowshed going, like that
screaming
Mick McCarthy,
for the whistle.
Yeah, that Mick McCarthy meme. It were like they couldn't, he could. They were like, this is just Town. This
Fergie time. It's 10th minute of added time and hanging on from a corner. It's Town though, innit? We can't do it. We can't just do it nice and simple and let everyone just have a nice little party and go home. It's always got to be right to edge on it. Just, I don't know. But look, got the win, didn't we? We got the win. It's another 3 points at the end of the day. That's all it's going to say in the history books. So we need it to win to bounce back after Barnsley, and that's exactly what we did. 3 goals. So, credit to them again. Overcome a bit of adversity by going a goal down. Fought the way back into the game. So there's a lot of positives there to take from it, I think. Who do you guys think would man at Matchton? I know supporters said, I think it was Taylor, but who would you have given it to, guys?
Probably, pains me to say, probably Sorensen. I think he's a much better fullback than he is a wing back. I think the way we're playing gives him license to roam when he wants, but also he doesn't have to constantly be up and down the pitch. He can take a breather, dropping it right back. So yeah, I thought Sorensen was really good on the day.
It might surprise Steve a little bit, but I was listening to a bit of Radio Leeds, and Ben Wiles were getting a bit of stick. Well, one of the callers, which is a rarity, isn't it?
Was it
saying he goes lost?
It wasn't me.
He does get a lot of it, Ben Wiles. I don't think all of it is justified, but he does have this habit of disappearing for spells, doesn't he, for a few games, and then he'll probably come on Saturday and smash one in top corner. I mean, I guess when you're dealing with League One players, there are going to be inconsistencies, because if he were smashing it every game, he wouldn't be at Town, would he? Let's be honest. But are we being a bit unfair, or is it time to maybe bring Castledine in from the start and put Wiles on the bench? Is it sending the right message if we keep playing him and he isn't performing?
I'd drop him, personally. I know it sounds harsh and it's easy for me to say because I'm not his biggest fan. But every time I do fire into him, he normally steps up and bangs in a 30-yard free kick. And then I get a text off Killer, don't you? And a big smirk and a smile saying, Steve. So I don't know. I don't know whether to keep him in and let me keep slagging him off and he'll prove me wrong. Or personally, I would give him a rest this week because I really didn't see anything that he did on Saturday. He was just a passenger. Apart from that break, he didn't do enough for me. I think these young lads that they're obviously Premier League players, aren't they? Like Castledine, he's been brought up with Chelsea, multi-foreign millionaires or whatever. There's a touch of class to him, and he receives the ball, and he's already looking round. He's already turning. He's already gone. With Wiles, it's like a Arctic turning into Tesco's or whatever. It's just like beep, beep, beep. It's like, come on, it's got to be a bit quicker. There's got to be a bit more urgency. I think that's the only downfall. I think we were so slow in first half. I think if we up the tempo, I think you play out between the blocks and the players, don't you? It's just having that key player to actually be brave enough to receive the ball, turn on it, and somebody already making a run and picking that pass. I don't want to go too hard on him because he always proves me wrong, and he is a town player, I suppose, at end. But I think it's time Ben has a rest, shall we say, rather than being dropped.
I agree. I'd like to see Castledine come in. Castledine. I know it's all right. Probably everybody else is going to go, well, didn't you know that? His mum's the woman of forms under the hammer. Did you know that? Lucy Alexander?
Yeah.
I didn't know that all at the weekend. So every day is a school day. And his sister's on EastEnders, apparently. But I can see what Chelsea's seeing him. I think the lad's he has got something about him. And I'm with you. I think Bradford are going to press his eye. They're going to want us to play out front back. They're going to press his eye. And when we do, we need to try and get through that press. And if we do, you then need somebody who's going to get that ball and going to do something with it. And I just think Castledown's got a bit of something that'll make a difference. I don't think there's going to be mega changes. I can't see him changing Ledson and Kane. Excuse me. I think they'll play. I think if I were him, I might be tempted to play Kasumu instead of one of them two, but I don't think he will. But then you're going to need somebody, as you said, Steve, who's going to make some happen, who's going to carry the ball 20, 30, 40, 50 yards at his feet. Because they're not the greatest at the back, this lot, but they also have a habit of they're really difficult to play against. And they've already turned Luton over, they've already turned Stockport over. So they know what they're doing. They're going to play a certain way, and we've got to try and cope with that. So, the way to beat them is going to need to get the ball out quick, and we're going to need to hit them on the break. So, and I also think, weirdly, Wiles, when he's come off the bench, the last couple of times come off the bench, I think he's had more of an impact on the game than when he started him. He's become a bit of an impact player for all the reasons that probably that loves him, his ability to make runs into space and do things, manipulate the ball and a position that others can. And that's much easier against a tired back four and a couple of sitters than it probably is for the first 60 minutes when they've still got loads of energy in the legs. So, yeah, I'd like to see him on, but I'm not sure we will. I have a feeling we're going to see the same team as Saturday Bar. I think May will come in for Taylor. I just hope I hope it's Lowe and Feeney rather than Lowe and Wallace. I don't know. I've seen nothing in Murray Wallace since he come back that makes me think he should be in the squad ahead of any of the other three.
Where was Feeney at weekend?
He was the extra man. He was warming up before the game. You had him doing the sprint, so he was the 17th or 18th man or whatever number he is.
So he just didn't make the bench. It was just. No.
He was there. He had him doing the runs.
Didn't understand why he'd been just not even make the bench because we only had one defender, didn't we? Which was Wallace.
Yeah.
So
did Radulovic get on bench?
Yeah. He came on. He cried when he came on. That plays about it. That's really mean.
I'm a little different on Wiles. I thought the game that he didn't start and Castledine did start was exactly what you've just explained to be the issue with Wiles. I thought was the issue with Castledine. He did nothing against Donny. He looked completely out of his depth, and I think Wiles came on and changed the game a bit. I completely agree with Gaz in the sense of I think they will press us high, and I think if you, from watching some of the games against Donny, you've got to run beyond, and you've got to try and isolate some of those centre halves because I think they're crap at the back, and I think that's what Wiles does. I don't think Castledine does that. I think he plays as that very traditional number 10. in behind Taylor, and I don't think that's what we're looking for. And I think particularly defensively as well, and I guess this does depend whether we play Taylor or May. You know, defensively he'll slot that little bit deeper, and particularly against Donny, that's when we got really deep. And I think was it May that was playing that started against Donny? You know, he was dropping really deep, and it just compacted us so much that we didn't have an outlet for so long, and we were kicking balls, and it was just going back and back and back. And I don't think you can do that in a derby against Bradford, who clearly will be, you know, absolutely up for this game, having not had this kind of derby for what 10 or 15 years. So I think they'll be proper up for it, and I think if we allow them a sniff, a little bit like we were talking about with Peterborough, you know, we're in trouble. So I think we have to start on the front foot. So I think you have to play your experienced players, and if you need to change it up, you bring some of the younger lads in, as and when, you know, there's you know, when we've worn them down a little bit, I guess.
Well, I don't know if you saw the goals. I watched their goals on Saturday, and Bradford only scored after their keeper spilled it. But I mean, I don't know if you see. I'm not sure if the keeper had a bet on or what, but I mean, basically, you have to play a goal, mate, stick it in.
Rolls over it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the first goal was they pressed them out. Doncaster pressed them, won the ball back at them. Second goal, they made a mistake, pressed them. Third goal, made a mistake, scored. So, you know, weirdly, we're talking about them pressing high, but all three Donny goals came from, because you're right, they absolutely crapped themselves. Once they got pressed, their back four went to pieces.
Those three centre backs, they literally, if you can isolate them, I think they're crap. Individually, I think they're crap. And I thought as well, Gaz, that they seem to play really quite individually almost. You know, as in it wasn't like a close three. Like that first goal, I think it's Tilt gets caught kind of high on the left, and then Bell even gets back in. And actually, if he got back in, he'd have won the header. But he don't really get back in, you know. And there's not covering across and covering in behind. It's you know, it's the centre back that chases back in, the central centre back that chases back in, and Tilt and the other lad just seem to give up. So I think I'd be interested to see Taylor start, if I'm honest with you, because out of the two, I think he's probably got the more. He's got a bit more pace about him, you know, and I'd be looking to try and release, you know, Taylor or you know, if Wiles plays, get Wiles running beyond, you know, and I think there's chances there, but it's making sure that we give the ball to these players to do that. I think in recent games, why Wiles hasn't stand out or Harness hasn't stood out is that teams have just completely shut Kane and Ledson down, and that playing through the middle doesn't happen. It then relies on someone like Sorensen down the wing to come up with something, because it just doesn't happen centrally, you know. So I don't think they'll change anything. And I think to be honest with you, the two wing backs they play with wing backs, that Toure and I can't think, Josh something or other he's called, the right wing back. They seem to rely on them two, as well as Poynton and is it Sarkovic? They seem to rely on them for the creativity. So those two wing backs, if you can hit the channels in behind those wing backs, and you know, as I've said, those centre backs look really poor. So I think we've got to go with probably a very similar team, and I do agree. I think Feeney or Watmore are the better. You know, they're the better options than Wallace. To be honest with you, I'd even argue that Balker's a better option than Wallace.
Oh, that's brave.
I don't think so, mate. I think that's how average he is. Unfortunately, you know, what does he add to the team? At least Balker can bring something to the table. I don't think Wallace adds anything.
Yeah, but all he'll bring is a sub, because he'll be limping off after about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He won't kick another football for Town, him.
No.
One of the last times I saw him were at Charlton, and that was the worst performance I've seen in my life from a defender. Now I hope he'd be better than that, but I'll be surprised if we see him again. Terry and Nigel and Kyle Cowgill said Castledine should start ahead of Wiles, so he's much more effective. But I've just seen Sean O'Toole here. Says Wiles is frustrating, but still needs to start. But he's getting close to losing his place. I mean, yeah, let's.
Could you play Sorry, Nick.
No,
could you play
go on, mate, go
Wiles
on.
deeper? And because Kane, everything goes through Kane, and he's another one that's a bit slow and small. Could you not play Wiles at the side of Ledson? And then that frees something else up. Could you not play him as a traditional 8 instead of a 10? Just an option, if you know what I mean.
I'd like to see Kasumu there in there on
But
Saturday,
he might
to be honest.
be in for Ledson, because Ledson did limp off, didn't he? We're holding his calf, so
unless Ledson's got a bad injury, I will be very surprised if he doesn't start on Saturday. Very surprised.
You've got to have the type of players like Ledson starting in a game like this, don't you?
No, I definitely agree. But if he's carrying that knock and that's why he took him off, then Kasumu's your straight replacement, and he's the general that breaks up play. He's not special, is he? He just gets in everybody's faces and breaks it up and gives the easy ball. A Johnny Hogg type player, innit? But I'm just thinking if you could drop Wiles back, that'd keep all the Wiles fanboys happy, and then at least we could have somebody more creative and faster. And I think that's the way you're gonna have to get past Bradford, isn't it? If it's on the
where
deck
are you getting
and
that
it's quick.
creativity and pace from, Shep?
Well, Castledine or Alves, they're much quicker than Wiles. They're quicker than Wiles, mate. Much quicker.
Alves plays from the wing.
Yeah, but they're much quicker on the ball. They can see it faster. They release the ball much quicker. I don't know if it's from the Premier League, the higher quality of football, but them two came on at the weekend and they changed the game hugely. The ball's into them. They were men already running. They were turning on it.
And Wiles came on against a better team in Donny and changed that game.
Well,
So,
I agree with you on that.
Potatoes, isn't it? You know,
But Wiles has had 4 games since and done fuck off.
Wiles ain't gonna do anything sat in a 6, is he? You know that's how they're playing at the minute. They're playing with 2 6s and a 10. You know, he ain't gonna do anything from that position. So if they don't play Kane there, you know.
But what's the difference between Wiles and Kane?
A lot. I don't think
Kane were this ball player, only when he came from Barnsley. Wiles were this ball player that came from Rotherham.
I don't think he's the 6 though. I think he's a lot more effective higher up the field.
We'll see. Andrew Brooks says, let's put the Dingles to the sword. 2-0. I think one thing that is certain is that it ain't going to be an easy game, is it? 12:30 kick-off. Bradford, I press inside. Now, if we're fucking about at back, to me, to you, in trying to play nice little intricate passes, I'll just take it off and say thanks very much and we'll be 2 down. So we are going to have to mix things up a little bit, I think. Don't do out stupid. But they're very aggressive. The form at Valley Parade is outstanding. I think they've lost 2 games all last season at home. They've won every game this season at home. So anyone that thinks we're going to go there and absolutely muller them, I think is going to be in for a rude awakening. It's going to be their crowd going to be. This is biggest game at season for them. There's no debate about that. I know there's all banter with fans and I think it's a bigger game for them than it is for us. In all honesty, I think there's going to be bigger games for us, particularly as the season progresses. But it's a derby game, isn't it? And it's a local rival. You always want to win them. It's going to be insane atmosphere in there. What we can't do is give them a leg up in the first 10 minutes, because if they score early, it's going to be a mountain, innit? And this is where I think Grant's going to turn to his experienced players, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar team that started on Saturday. To be, I think that's why you'll end up going with your Wiles, your Ledsons. Ruskin, I'm not so sure, but I would be expecting to see Gooch, because as amazing as Sorensen's been, I just think Gooch has the experience. What more? Hopefully, will be in there if his injury isn't too bad. And Joe Lowe. And I honestly think I think May will start up front rather than Taylor. And I think the plan will be to stifle them, quiet the crowd, control the game, try and get a goal. If not, we've got the kids that will come on second half, run at them when they're tiring. I mean, Curtis Tilt, I run quicker than Curtis Tilt. When we get those, like your Alves, maybe even like a Redmond off bench,
I think
get
he's
him running
injured,
at
isn't
him, get your Taylor running in behind Aslin, and let's win it.
I'm thinking the experience thing that you're at, we're probably one of the few clubs other than maybe Cardiff in the league that play in front of 15 to 20,000 fans at home every week. Most of the other teams go there play in front of 2,000 and 3,000. So when they got a Valley Parade, it's a bit of a shock. Then, the two big stands, the two proper stands they've got, they're big stands out there. But yeah, I think you've summed it up perfectly. I think that's exactly what Grant will want to do. He'll want to keep it tight, control the crowd, but most importantly, we'll get a chance or two in the first half. We absolutely will. We've got to take them, because I think if they go 2 behind, they won't know, they will not be able to come back from that. They won't know what to do. All they'll have is to come really direct, and then it's really going to leave space in behind for us, which is where we're good then. So I think it's going to be tough, but it might come down to who scores first.
Yeah,
Saturday, I do. I think who scores first could be key.
Yeah, and if I have to see another mind the gap post on X, I think I'll leave, because I can't take it anymore. We're only 7 games in, and that's all you're fucking seeing every 2 minutes. So we're not going to get this every game, are we?
The only worse than that is a podcaster who says something that's really obvious, then claims like he's a fucking soothsayer for saying it. Killer there, look, I would like to put on record Ruskin not being always being preached from Dale. Fuck it, mate. Who on earth says a man who's a left back could be a brilliant left winger? Absolutely, other than Lee Grant, absolutely fucking nobody. Shocking feedback.
Oh God, I hope we beat him, just more for the fact that it'll shut them up.
Yeah,
because I don't know any Bradford fans. None of my mates are Bradford fans, so I guess if you've got mates that are Bradford fans, if you work with Bradford fans, it's going to mean more in it. To me, I hold it in the same regard as Barnsley game. It's a derby. It's a local derby. You want to win them. If we lose, is it the end of the world? No, because we'll probably win the next 2. But it's a derby game. You want to win it if you can. I don't really... But on paper, to me, Town will be favourites because of the squad. But to me, I think it's completely even because it's a derby, because their home form's so good, because they've started so well in the league. I think this will be one of our toughest games this season. Playing them now, I think if we were playing them later and they lose a few more games, they start to get a few injuries. But with the state they're in right now, this is one of our most difficult games of the season for me. Yeah.
I don't think not to fear though, Nick. I really don't. And I think when we take something, we're then going into 2 games again. You'd expect us to win, wouldn't you? So if we take a point, take 3 points, I think that's really positive. We can move on to 2 really winnable games. We stop Port and Luton to come in the 2 games after that. So it's not to fear, is there? The players are good enough. We've got more than enough about them.
Hopefully, it'll be a good game. It's not going to be. It's not going to be Brazil versus Argentina football, is it? It's going to be dog and duck versus King Black Bull, 2-footed. Everybody flying in, tackles. Just exactly what you'd expect from Northern football. So, I think the only other thing, guys, I'll tell you what. Before I do, let's get some predictions and go on, because we talk about the game. Gaz, come on, let's have some positivity, mate.
I'm going to say 2-1 Town.
Nice. Tris?
2-2.
Fucking hell, man. 2-2. I was hoping we'll all be positive, all wins, and then when we lose, we can be miserable then, mate. Not before. Steve.
I'm going to go with 3-1 Town win and a Joe Taylor chicken dance like Billy Sharp
I
did.
hope he
Just
does.
running outside.
How good were that, mate?
Fucking min.
Brilliant.
He's a big enough shit house to do it, Joe Taylor. As well.
Yeah.
So that's for me, in fairness.
He'll have already got 2 though then.
Yeah.
Joe Taylor will come on and get last one and then run down line. 3-1.
Nice one. 3-1 Bradford. No, I'm only joking. Go on. I think there'll be goals though, because we both like to press. Our defence hasn't been great last few games, which has been a surprise because it has been really good up to then. But Bradford's aren't great either, so I think there will be goals. I've cursed it now, probably been 0-0, but let's see another 3-2 Town victory. Hopefully, May getting on the score sheet and doing his little chicken dance. That'll be perfect. But yeah, I think it's going to be tough. But look, we've got to go in with confidence. And look, the last 2 away games in the league, we've lost and we've conceded 3 goals. We don't want to be doing that again, do we?
No.
We should be expecting, with the quality of squad we've got, a response. Now, we got a bit of a response again at home to Peterborough, but it wasn't great, especially in that first half. So hopefully we can get a more well-rounded performance at Bradford and get the points. The only thing else I want to talk about is Jordan Rhodes. So Jordan Rhodes retired from football, becoming loan manager at Blackburn. I mean, what can you say about him? It's 3rd highest goal scorer in AFL. I think we signed him for around, was it like 350,000? It was in modern day terms, it was next to nothing. Back in 2009, and then he went on to have an amazing spell with us. He scored 36 league goals that 2011-12 season. He beat Dixie Dean's record, quickest headed hat-trick. Just what an outstanding player. And I don't know if we'll ever get a striker as good as him, at relative level, ever. 36 league goals. I think he scored 40 goals over the course of that season. I think we'll struggle to get the like again. But I just wanted to ask you guys, what's your best Rhodes moment? What's your best Rhodes memory?
Well, that's an easy one for me. When he scored all 4 at Sheffield Wednesday, whereas we were walking out of the ground, me and Connor, we were right behind the goal when he came steaming through and smashed that 4th one in. But he was a natural goal scorer, wasn't he? I think it's not just, I don't think we'll get many more like that at Town. I'm not sure you'll get many more in the Football League now. The game's changed as well from when Jordan played, the way teams play. They only play with one striker now, don't they? Even we fucking rotate. So, Jordan would never, I don't think it'll be a long, long time before somebody scores 40 goals in a season again. He was a natural goal scorer. He wasn't blessed with pace, was he? He wasn't that great in the air, but he was an absolute sniffer. He was always in the right place at the right time. And I only met him twice, but I'd say a really nice bloke, an absolutely thoroughly decent guy as well. So enjoyed it. He's earned his retirement. Hope he enjoys it.
Tris?
To go different to Gav, I would agree. I was at Wednesday that day, and that 4 was class. But to go different to Gaz, the 5 at Wickham, it was phenomenal, and quite as Gaz says, he wasn't blessed with. There was an air of Andy Booth about him, wasn't there? In that he kind of did a very simple job outside of the box where he would manipulate a defender, get the ball, lay it off to someone, and just get in the box. And there's some of the lads in the team, in this team that could do from learning from him of just getting box. And his movement in around the box was fantastic. I think probably there's probably been 4 decent strikers since I've watched Town. Booth, 5, Booth, Jepson, Stead, Stewart, and Rhodes, and arguably Rhodes was the best, the most clinical the most clinical finisher, and I think probably the best movement in the box. You know, and I think the only thing that I would criticise him for was going to Blackburn. You know, at the time it was such an average move on it. You know, there was teams out there that would have done a lot more for his career, and I mean, Stead went and did the same thing, and I think his career took a similar path. You know, I think both of them could have gone on to a lot bigger and better things with a slightly different path, but kind of jumped at the first time of someone sniffing around them and putting in a decent offer for them. But no, you know, it'll be remembered fondly, and I can't remember who it was that had put it on the WhatsApp group, but you know, it would have been fantastic if he could have just nicked that 100th goal for the club. You know, it'd have proper, more so than he already did, but it'd have properly cemented him in kind of legendary status at the club, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Steve?
Not many goals to pick from, like lads have said, but one from a bit newer for me, that one against Luton. I think that were the icing on the cake for the lad. Yeah, she's just phenomenal. They were, like you say, you don't see many of them in these lower leagues anymore, do you? Like the fox in the box, the natural finisher, whatever you want to call them. They're a dying breed, but he'll go down in town folklore, won't he? He'll have a memorial and stuff like that. And like Triss has just said, I think if we'd have pushed him out, I know he were fading, but I reckon he'd have got them 3 goals if we'd have just hung on to him and had him as a super sub.
Yeah, you've all said mine, but what I was going to say, I mean, Gaz, that game at Wednesday, that was the first game that I took my girlfriend, now wife, to. She's a rugby lass. She doesn't follow football. And that's the closest I've ever been to convincing her that football's remotely interesting. Because every other game she's seen's been shite after that, with next to no goals. So the bar was set really high early, and it went downhill from there. But yeah, so I've got fond memories of that game as well. And like you say, Steve, there's so many, isn't there? There's so many goals to choose from, and yeah, there's so many great moments. And obviously, we wish him all the best in his future endeavours. And I just hope that we get another striker like him again. I mean, who knows? Maybe Taylor could turn into it. Who knows? But yeah, it's nice to see him getting that job, and hopefully he does well. Guys, we've done over an hour there. I think that's enough, unless you guys have anything more to talk about. We're getting some more predictions in from the guys listening. Jed Robinson says 3-0 Town on Saturday. Nice one, Jed. James Murgatroyd says 4-3 to someone. You've got, come on, mate. Let's it's Town, innit? Be positive. It's definitely going to be Town. I mean, 4-3. Bring it on, mate. Let's hope there's some goals at least. Ross Liversees says 3-1 Town. Lots of people thinking we're going to score lots of goals. And so it's nailed on 0-0. But no.
Is anybody going?
Yeah. So you trying to wind me up now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Last week was my teeth. This week it's tickets.
Somebody managed to get a ticket.
I wasn't going to mention it because I just knew Gaz would be pissed. I had wind Gaz up so much. I thought I won't mention it, and we'll just let it go. But
I'm still not over it.
They've done a lot of things. They've done a lot of things right, haven't they, in terms of communication and media? But get the time right.
I'm sure everybody who's got a mate that works in ticket office got one at 9:10.
No, mine were about 9:30. Yeah. I were late. I queued. Yeah. I did queue. You saw the photo.
Yeah.
But I did have to get onto him. I'm not going to get one here. They were 300 deep.
Yeah, not good. Not good, Nicholas. But I'm sure they've completely ignored it. The club, there was loads of feedback on social media, but the club have just ignored it.
A lot.
So in usual Town style, they pretended it didn't happen.
Well, there'll be something coming of it. HTSA will be on it, and it's got to be so. I mean, it might be out there, hands. It might be platform that does that, but communicate it. Say, look, it might be
online early,
half an hour early.
I mean, to post the thing at 9:30, saying it's now on sale when they're already sold out.
I know.
It's just
I know.
daft, isn't it? So, listen, if that's all we've got to moan about these days, then it's a lot better than it has been, isn't it?
Absolutely.
At least you're not bitter about it, Gaz.
I'm not betting the slightest.
I'll send you a
Honestly,
picture, Gaz.
I tell you, he knows how to push my buttons, that fucking shepherd. He really does, doesn't he?
And then you get some fans saying, well, all real fans knew that they come out early anyway, so you should have known, guys.
Well, those of us who've got a real job, Steve, didn't have a chance to go and queue outside.
It was raining. It was raining. I couldn't roof in rain.
Yeah.
I even went and queued.
Should we end it?
I'm not.
I think we'll end. I think we'll end it. Yeah, we'll end it there. Look, guys, thank you as always for your contributions, for your questions, for your comments. It means a lot to us. This is what it's about, the social. We want everyone involved in the conversation. And I always say it, and I'm going to say it again. If anyone wants to come on and talk with us on one of the episodes, just message us and come on. You know, be a part of it. That's what we want. We don't want the same people on all the time. We want as many fans as possible talking about town. It's nice and laid back, so just come on and get involved. What's the worst that can happen, eh? And as you know, Andy takes that chance. They're looking to reach 1,000 Patreon members, and they're nearly there. So members get some exclusive content, including extra episodes, early released episodes and articles. So go on to the website and check it out. But for now, Gaz, Tristan, Steve, thank you so much, guys. As always, we'll look forward to the bantams, the bunch of chickens or bunch of cocks or whatever you want to call them. But we'll look forward to that on Saturday, and let's hope we can bring home the 3 points just to shut them up. See you soon, guys. Take care, and as always, up the town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.